A Wilmington, North Carolina woman parked her car in a section that is reserved for veterans only. Now, after she did that with her kids, she went into a grocery store and she came back and she noticed that there was a random note on her car. And the note said the following: "Maybe you can't read the sign you parked in front of. This space is reserved for those who fought for America, not you. Thanks, wounded vet." Okay. So I was amused by this. But then when I read into the story a little more, I was even more amused because it turns out that this woman with her children is actually a vet, okay? According to reports, she was a member of the flight crew for the F-117 Nighthawk in Kuwait. And when she saw that note, she was really upset because she realized that just because she's a woman with kids, this guy or woman, whoever it was, assumed that she had not served the country.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get the whole thing about respecting our veterans. I think we should, right? But like, what's next? Are we going to have parking spots for doctors? Are we going to have parking spots for teachers that educate our youth?
Parking spots for handicapped people?
Like, but that makes sense because handicapped people might have a hard time getting into a store, right?
Okay,
So they need to be as close as possible. But like, if you are a wounded vet, then you can get a handicap placard and then you're fine. Like, why do we have to have parking spots like specifically reserved for wounded vets or vets in general?
Right, so this is for vets in general, not wounded vets, because as you said, a wounded vet, I'm sure, could get the handicapped parking permit. Yeah, I mean, this is just terrible. Obviously, there are plenty of women that serve in many levels. You know, I'm sure I've told you this before. I probably mentioned this on the Young Turks 1,000 times. B. Arthur from the Golden Girls was a truck driver in World War II.
It's amazing.
So women are out there and have been out there doing things for a long time. So I think maybe what this person was trying to get at was you're a woman, meaning you're not in the front lines of combat, which even that is changing now. But I'm not excusing it by any stretch. The guy's just being a dick, and should have had the foresight to think maybe this woman did serve. It is possible that a woman with kids actually served.
Yeah,
and there are thousands and thousands of examples of that.
I don't even think he put that much thought into it. And by the way, I think I'm being unfair saying that it's a guy. I'm assuming it's a guy, which is unfair. It could have been a woman. But nonetheless, I think that this person just assumed, like, oh, here's a mother walking to a store. There's no way that she could have been in the military at all.
Yeah.
And look, this is a lesson that everyone can learn, and it can be applied to so many different things. We make judgments about people based on the way they look on a regular basis. I'm guilty of it. I do it on a regular basis, although I try to be cognizant of it, and I try not to judge people by the way they look. But try to be better about it, I guess. You know, don't assume that just because someone's small, they're not strong. Don't assume that if someone's overweight, that they're overweight because they can't stop eating. They might have a genetic issue. Like, there's so many different stories and so many different reasons for why people are the way they are, or why they do the things that they do. So try to be a little more open-minded before casting judgment on others.
By the way, Jesus, can we throw the quote about what it said on the note? Because I think there's another interesting part of this, which isn't just that the person said you shouldn't park here. It was, this space is reserved for those who fought in America, not you. Like, there's this specific, like, it gets angry unnecessarily, almost like, this is what it's for, you might have made a mistake. But like this real sort of indignant thing, it's just unnecessary.
So if this was signed by an actual wounded vet, I also don't like the sense of entitlement there. First of all, I respect you for what you did. I think that it's brave, I think it's courageous and selfless. But at the same time, just because you served in the military, it doesn't make you a god. It doesn't mean that people have to bow down to you. It doesn't mean that you're better than everyone else in the country.
Yeah.
That sense of entitlement bothers me.
Yeah, I mean...
I think it's what we do. You know, whenever you see a veteran or even a current serving military serviceman in an airport and they're in their uniform, they get a lot of free stuff. Cool, that's fine with me, by the way. I don't care. But we have this sense of make sure you thank them, make sure you thank them. And I think it's because people who aren't in or are thinking about it are like, I want the entire country to respect me. I think it's a recruiting tool to tell everyone.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, to tell everyone, hey, you could be respected no matter how much of an asshole you might be in your regular life. Yeah. Everyone's going to respect you no matter how much of a dick you actually are.
And remember, a lot of times the recruiters for the military target disadvantaged youth or troubled youth. And, you know, that could be a very appealing way or appealing tactic for some, right? Like to hear that you're going to be respected and that you're going to move forward in your life in the best possible way. I mean, I could see how that would work.